that customary YouTube check. And it always ruins my beginning. And I always say this in the beginning, I need to find like another start. But please let me know in YouTube chat if you can hear me and see all of us, and then we'll get started. Okay, I can see myself on my screen, but a quick confirmation in chat will help, and we are live. Okay, thank you. That my team confirmed it. Awesome, people. So good evening once again. I hope you're all geared up for a brilliant 2026 and all the party plans for tomorrow are in place. We're rounding up 2025 with this fantastic YouTube live session, which is going to decode some new age digital first careers that are in high demand in the corporate world today. So we're going to talk about some exciting roles such as product management, e-com, digital brand management, to name a few. Now, this is quite timely because a common point of discussion in your B-School, upcoming B-School personal interviews is going to be around career plans and domain preferences. It's a very, very common question that the panel would want to know. They'll obviously deep dive into your career plans. Why do you want to do an MBA, long-term, short-term, all of that. So that's exactly the focus of today's session. We're not going to discuss traditional career tracks like banking, IT-enabled services, but we're going to focus on new age, rather digital first careers that have come up in the last 10 to 15 years. And who better to talk about these careers than folks who are currently pursuing these roles at the moment. So on the panel today, we have three brilliant alumni from the 2025 batch of Altera Institute. They're currently working in companies like Honasa, which is the parent company of Amarnath. I'm sure all of you would have heard about Amarnath, if not Honasa. Supertails, I'm personally a big fan of Supertails because I'm their customer and my dog is their customer as well. And Sleepwell, and they're all working in e-com product and brand roles. So they'll talk in depth about their roles and also give you advice which will help you crack similar roles in future. I have a set of questions for them, so I'll go first, but I'll make sure to leave ample time for Q&A so that all your questions are answered. Okay, awesome. So on that note, folks, let's get cracking. Now, again, I'm going with my questions first, but don't wait for the Q&A session. I'll keep coming back and forth. I'll keep sort of taking questions from live chat as well. So feel free to put your questions there right away for the panelists. So folks, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us today. I'm sure you have busy schedules, or at this point, hopefully, you're taking some much needed year-end downtime. But whatever that is, I really appreciate you taking out the time to join us today. And this promises to be a great session. So I'm very, very excited about it. All right, so let's go around the table. If you folks can just quickly introduce yourself, feel free to include whatever possible in the introduction. But I think, yeah, a round of introductions would be great to start with.
Okay, so hello everyone. This is Prachi, and I'm currently working at Sleepwell as a marketing manager. Prior to that, I had done my post-graduation program in applied marketing from Altera. And previous to that, I was working for about a year at a startup where, because it was a startup, my roles were not limited to marketing. There were various aspects, that is managing their e-commerce, their B2B partnerships, sales, and everything was in my job list. And prior to that, I have done my undergraduation. I have done BCom from Jadavpur University. And yeah, I think that would be all about my introduction.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Prachi. How much work experience did you have before joining your program at Altera?
So it was about a year, around 9-10 months is what I was working for.
Okay. And that was also in the marketing domain, is it?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right, great. Moving on to Arun. Arun, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, my name is Arun. I'm from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, where I did my bachelor's in electrical and electronic engineering, post which I got placed in Accenture, and then I worked in Musicma as well as a decision scientist. So I had this I had this inclination towards doing a business program, so I got enrolled into Altera, and now currently I'm with Amarnath, Honasa, where I'm leading their D2C vertical.
Awesome. And what was the tenure of work experience before Altera?
Close to 3 years.
Close to 3 years. Okay. Awesome. Amarnath, let's go with you next.
Hi to IIM folks. This is Amarnath, and I'm joining from Bangalore. I'm currently working at Supertails as category manager. So prior to this, I did my master's in applied marketing from Altera Institute. And prior to that, I did my bachelor's in management studies with international business as my specialization. So I was a fresher. So sorry for not letting you ask that question of what is my experience.
Okay, awesome. It's good. It's good to have a mix. So while Amarnath, you were a fresher, Arun had about close to 3 years of experience, and Prachi was around 1 year of work. So it's good. It's good because we have a mix of freshers and work experience folks who are listening today. So I'm sure your insights will be very relevant. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your current roles. And all of you got placed in these roles out of Altera. If you can tell us a little bit about your role, just focusing on your main role related responsibilities, but try to keep it simple so that if there is a fresher listening, they can understand that as well. So try to avoid jargons as much as possible. I know that is difficult being in the corporate world, but yeah, just fresher friendly description of your role.
Okay, so I'll simplify as much as possible. So I have joined as a marketing manager where I lead all the digital aspects. So digital aspects include social media management, that is managing Meta and Google, as in their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the profiles. So whatever communication creatives that you see going on the digital platforms, that is what I manage. Then the second thing that I manage is the website. So managing the flow, UI, UX, taking care of what offers to run, where to run is the another aspect that I take care. Then is influencer marketing, which is a big chunk. So the reels that you scroll where you see influencers talking about the brand is managed by me. And the last bit is the content bit, that is SEO. And because now AI is booming, so AI content. So these are the four major buckets that my work includes. So yeah.
Okay. So Prachi, it's completely digital. So when we're saying marketing, it's all the different sort of parts of digital marketing.
Correct.
Okay. All right. If I may ask you, because earlier on in the informal sort of offline discussion that we were having, I think you mentioned something about shoots. So I guess these are like influencer shoots that you coordinate?
Yes, so influencer shoots and also celeb shoots. So
Okay.
recently we had a Diwali campaign where we featured Mrunal Thakur. So we went for a shoot there. So that was what we were discussing.
Nice. I mean, that struck me because I'm a Bollywood fan. But is that something that you enjoy in your own?
I love that. I mean, I have
Okay.
also always been a Bollywood baby. So that is another thing that I really enjoy about my work.
Nice. That's good to know. All right. Arun, if you can tell us a little bit about your role.
So I handle the D2C vertical, all the revenue that being generated via D2C, and personally I handle the Dermoco platforms like app and website. Also I handle Amarnath app as well. So my role revolves around CRO, conversion rate optimization, and how to improve the D2C's revenue compared to other verticals like e-com or say in-store brick and mortar stores. So my role revolve around revenue generation via D2C. And also, I ideate internal marketing tools as well, marketing tech tools. So, yeah, that's my role description.
Very interesting. And if I may ask, Arun, what's your favorite part about your role? Like your topmost favorite thing that sort of, excites you on a day-to-day basis.
Since like I'm working as a product manager, like I will just ideate an idea, I will run a UCR test, and then I mean, I can see my feature on live being used by 300 to 400 lakh daily active users. So that's the part, like from ideation to making it live, ship it. So that's what the interesting aspect of my role is.
Awesome. And remind me again, are you an engineer? Is your academic background in engineering? Okay.
Yeah, I'm an
Okay.
engineer.
And are there engineering aspects as well in your product management role?
No,
Like
mostly
technical
it's
aspects?
yeah, mostly it revolve around growth.
Okay.
So engineering part is not being handled by me.
Right.
So I will just ideate and bring the product or feature, ship live and make it happen. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Amarnath, let's hear about your role a little bit.
Yeah. So when it comes to being a category manager, actually there's a bit difference because I had to start a category from scratch. So let me just actually tell you what a category manager normally does. So first thing is he has to first take an ownership of the P&L. So he has to take care of all the numbers, the revenue part and everything. Whatever goes down, you need to, do an RCA and get it right up there. So, and you also need to work with different work verticals simultaneously. So let's say a perf marketing, a retention team, the brand management team. So you need to have this constant talks with these teams as well as vendor management, to get these new vendors onboarding and to maintain a relationship with them. So this is how a normal day for category manager goes.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you a bit of a different question. What do you think is the most complex aspect of your role, Amarnath?
I think it's vendor management. I
Right.
think the negotiation part with real people, right? That's the most, I'd say, the most difficult part of the
Right.
job.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Interesting. Very interesting, folks. Thank you for sharing that. I'll shift gears a little bit. By the way, folks on YouTube Live, keep your questions coming. There's some great questions there. I'll get to them as soon as possible, and I'll try to make sure all your questions are answered in this session. Okay. Now let's talk about your B school education a little bit, because these placements that you secured were straight out of your PG program at Altera. The folks listening today are MBA aspirants, right? Most of them will start their MBA or their PG programs next year. The education that you gained in your B school, how did it help you, or did it play a role in cracking these roles for you?
Yeah,
Anyone?
well, I'll just go
Yeah.
ahead. So I think I'll be proud enough to say that each and every subject that I studied at Altera, I think I've used it here in the first 6 months. So I think let's start with the commercial acumen that we have studied about, the brand management, how to build a brand as well as a category from scratch. So all of these things actually collided into one path for me, and it worked out great here.
Okay. Okay. Um,
I,
any, sorry, Prachi, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying that I totally agree with Amarnath. I mean, definitely it is exactly what we had learned is what we are using. So, I mean, when we used to have, I mean, specifically for me, when we used to have marketing classes, we used to think, I don't really think these writing briefs, writing job to be done, really, actually you have to do at work. So it actually impacts. So whatever you're learning in the B school, whatever you're learning in the classes are actually applicable.
Okay, okay, that's good to know, because often there's I mean, not just with MBA, but like most education courses, often there's a disconnect between what you learn and what you actually do. So it's good to know that there is not some sort of an alignment, but quite a bit of alignment between what you studied and what you do. Arun, what is your take on this?
So same goes for me. Like I had this one crash course during my time, like a negotiation skill.
Okay,
So even I had this mind like I want to get into product management, and I felt negotiation was not my cup of tea, and I thought this is just an add-on, not something that I would be regularly using in my day-to-day job. But then the negotiation job is that skill is what I've been using for the past 3 months, like negotiating with the external agencies for their APIs and pricings and all those things. So this negotiation skill come in handy.
okay,
So yeah.
okay. And I think as a product manager, I'm sure there's a lot of internal negotiation around timelines
Exactly,
also that
stakeholder
comes up,
management,
not just
negotiation plays a
pricing.
major role.
I'm sure as a product manager, probably that's one of the most prominent aspects of your role, and complex as well, similar to what Amarnath said. Awesome, awesome. Good to know this, folks. Now let me take a question from chat. Folks, keep your questions coming. I see some great questions here. There's something about Altera and the AICTE rating. We'll come back to it. All right. So Rohit wants to know what are live projects. Okay, because Altera does have live projects, right? That's sort of one of the USPs of the PG program. How is it different from internships? I've applied this year and want some guidance on case interview round as I'm expecting a shortlist. Okay, there are a number of questions there. Let's have a discussion around live projects. How are they different from internships?
So I will go on this, like
Sure.
because I had this experience of having 3 live projects. So I did HUL, Belgium FL, and Sebamate. So live projects are nothing but a problem statement given by the company itself to us to get a fresh perspective and a solution from the student. So this helps us solve a real world problem. And it's not theoretical. We'll be connecting with the business stakeholder of the respective company and we'll be solving the problem together. So that's what it makes difference, the live project from the other internship or the other internal projects.
Interesting, interesting. So these are actual business problems that the companies face that you assist them with, is it?
Exactly.
Okay, so sort of as a consultant for those problems.
Additionally, while you are doing an internship, you have to spend a lot of time, as in it is full time, you're there in the office. These live projects happen simultaneously. So we
Right.
had our classes from morning to evening, and post that we used to work on those live projects. So it's not like
Okay.
you have a specific hour that from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. you're working on this, but you have to
Right.
manage academics with the project, basically.
Okay. Okay. If any of you can share an example of a business problem, I don't know if that's allowed, but
It's
with
fine.
some specific business problem that you solved as part of the live projects, I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I can go ahead with this. So I think we as a team of three had to create a GTM strategy for a new product of Belgian waffle. So the point is we had to get down to streets, interview more than about 50 retail stores and talk to about 10 to 15 distributors in and around Delhi NCR. Know how the business works there, what's the margin structure there, and what's the flow of product there. So, and we did come up with a GTM strategy for different platforms. It's like the general trade, modern trade, e-commerce, as well as quick commerce.
Okay, awesome. That sounds exciting. GTM, by the way, folks, is go to market.
Go to
Don't
market
worry,
strategy.
these jargons will consume your life very soon once you start your MBA. And I don't blame them. I was in the corporate world. I know that that sort of urge and that automatic pull towards acronyms. It's very difficult to avoid that. Okay, awesome. All right, folks, keep your questions coming. I will come back to them. Um, All right. Now, bunch of folks here. Obviously, most of them will start their MBA next year. They're in the application personal interview prep phase. Their interviews will start soon. The results just came out, the CAT results. A lot of them are interested, and I'm sure they want to crack these digital first marketing roles and move away from the traditional roles, right? So, what's your advice to them? What can they do right now in this phase to prepare them so that they can crack these roles in the near future?
So I would suggest for a PA personally, PA interviews, personal interviews, consider it as a conversation between you and the other person. Like, don't consider it as a test or an exam. Just consider it as a conversation and make the conversation happening and just make the person from the other side feel like excited to work with you or excited to teach you or something. So that one I would suggest to just keep a conversation rather than making it as a test or exam, considering it as a test or exam. And for the case studies and all those things, first principle is always a key.
Okay, okay, sounds good. Prachi, Amarnath, any tips?
To add on with Arun actually, so when it comes to the PI part, right? You don't actually need to give right answers, okay? You just need to give your own perspectives. That is what is important, and add on the flavor of first principles thinking, as he said. That is the main part that they look for.
Okay, okay. Just tell us a little bit about when you say first principles thinking. What exactly do you mean? Is this like a model that you follow? What do you mean by that?
I think first principles, the term is a bit old, but it was made famous by Elon Musk. So, of
Mhm.
course, so first principles thinking is nothing but breaking down a problem system into the most fundamental units possible so that you don't leave out any vertical, any problem that might have arisen, and so that you can actually go to the root of the problem and find a solution for it.
Got it, got it. So I
There's
think
this
for
term called MESI.
Yes, correct. Got
mutually
it.
exclusive and collectively exhaustive.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So for case-based, scenario-based problems, that's what you would recommend. Okay, great.
Yes.
I think Rohit, you were asking about that, right? So folks, look it up. And these models there are other frameworks as well that come up for like structuring answers, solving problems. You'll learn that as part of your PI prep journey, but look it up. First principles, as Amarnath said, it's by Elon Musk, and also the MEC framework that Arun suggests. Prachi, what about you? Any tips and any specific tips around cracking these these exciting in-demand marketing roles that you folks have managed to crack? Anything that they
So
can do right now?
yeah, so I would suggest that obviously the institute that you join, the B school that you join, plays a very, very important role on making you help land to this job, because while these jobs is not something that whatever you have learned in your books that will help. So I had marketing in my undergraduation also, but those principles, while those are important for you to know, that is not really what you apply on your jobs. So the institute that you're joining or the B school that you're joining actually plays a very important role. But apart from that, when you think of brands, a lot of misconception is that brands is only fancy, as we already talked about shoots, celebs, influencers. This is not what exactly only brand manager does. While it sounds very fancy, there's a lot of working, there's a lot of thought that goes behind it. So knowing about different brands, knowing about their strategy, and also looking up to a lot of nowadays people skip ads, but that is the most important aspect when you want to become a brand manager. Looking at the ads, understanding why is that specifically, because now digital ads are so common. So why is that ad being shown to you? Because these brands work crazily on targeting. So if this ad is shown to you, then why do you think you are the target audience? Why are you seeing the ad? What is the brand trying to communicate? So as of now, you can start understanding these all things, and now you see so many brands and you try to understand their parent company as well. There is HUL, there is ITC, such big brands. So what are the other these parents company have, what are the other brands, sub brands in them? So having these ideas will help you a lot as a journey in brand manager, I would suggest.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip. I think there were a number of tips that she mentioned. One interesting one is don't skip those ads. As annoying as they can be, you can probably help boost YouTube's revenue a little bit as well. Don't skip those ads. But I think that's a great tip. Any particular sources that you would recommend, just for sort of like general reading, improving their marketing knowledge, and also preparing for interviews? Any sort of publicly available material or external sources, or maybe even courses that you would recommend MBA aspirants to do at this stage?
So there are a lot of certifications that you will get, and also I think Marketing Monk is another. Uh, I think they have their newsletters. They send you emails when you subscribe to them. So I had read that a lot. So I think that would
Okay.
help the people.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Marketing Monk, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other sources, Arun, Amarnath, that you probably looked up or are useful right now that they can also use?
I think courses on Google, right? There's this digital marketing course that is available and it is quite famous on Google. I think they give you the fundamentals of digital marketing, so not in depth. So of course, knowing the fundamentals will always be helpful for you.
Right. And I think these are those free Coursera courses, right? That you're talking
Yes,
about, which is connected collaboration with
yes,
Google. Right.
correct.
Additionally, I would want to mention more than these courses, I would suggest internships. Even
Mm.
if it is a non-paid one, you're not being paid, go for those internships, because personally, from my experience, I had done 4-5 internships after I had done my 12th. I had done few internships. Then after my undergraduation, I had done a few internships, and it made me realize my interest in marketing and as a brand manager. So because once you start working on things, you learn better. So
Right.
instead of just doing a course, I mean, definitely courses are also suggested, but internships will give you more exposure and more learning.
Definitely. Awesome. And I think internships hold more weight as well when you go for your interviews than those courses, right?
Right.
I think a tip from mine, I think those courses are fantastic. That digital marketing course that Amarnath spoke about, it's free. If you want a certificate, you have to pay like a nominal amount. But I think from a knowledge perspective, they are great. They'll help you in PI. From a PI sort of points perspective, internships will carry more weight than courses, right? So keep that in mind, folks. I think those are excellent tips. Let me look at the questions now. There's a Mrunal Thakur fan there, which is interesting. All right. Weber, Weber wants to know, is e-com better than a brand role? Any sort of take on the comparison?
I
No,
don't
it's
think.
between fight between Amarnath and Prachi. No.
No,
He's
I
starting
don't
this
think this is
fight.
a apple to apple comparison at all. I mean,
Right.
e-com and brand are two complete different perspective, and I don't think brand and e-com goes hand in hand.
Mm. Okay. So for this to help the audience, just probably in a nutshell, tell us about the difference between an e-com and a brand role.
So from
So,
my perspective, so what I see is brand is something making the people know about our product,
Hmm.
and e-com is enabling the sales to happen.
Right.
So they are brands or farmers, and this one e-com is hunters.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. So is e-com a lot to do with like data analysis as well? Is that like a significant part of an e-com role?
Not really, but
Mhm.
of course, data analysis is a part of it, but that's not the
Right.
major part, I would say.
Okay. Okay.
So, let's say now I am from a marketplace side.
Hmm.
I'll have to handle like numerous brands. So, giving this grade or points of which brand should be shown more, or which brand should be pushed more. So, I think that differs more than actual data analysis, because the inputs that you give will actually make the difference.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Awesome. Right. So there's an interesting question. Do you guys have teams of your own at work, or everything has to be done by you only? It's
Ugh.
one woman army, I'm sure. But anyway, let's get your perspective on that.
So personally, for me, I have a separate engineering team, app team, a designer team, and data analytics team, and a separate growth team. So what I do is I act as a bridge between all this team, like as you mentioned, stakeholder management. So it's not like I have some subordinate with me who I will just make them run loose and do all this work. So I will be that person who will bridge all this team. So that's what my role, product manager role, basically.
Okay. Okay.
and
All right.
also when the roles we talk about, I can talk about Sleepwell. So as big brands, as legacy brands, there are agencies also that we have. So it is not everything that you have to do on your own, but
Right.
managing agency and agency management is a major task that you have. So making things happen is also your task.
Right. Right. And managing agencies and vendors is a whole different task and
Correct.
whole different world. Right. So that's I mean, you might think that you've outsourced everything to agencies and vendors, but managing them is also takes away a chunk.
Sometimes you feel you can do better yourself than making people
Right.
work for you.
Right. This reminds me of my past life. So this resonates with me. Amarnath, what's your take on this? Do you have like a team that sort of is at your beck and call, or is it a one-man army?
No. I'd never say it's a one-man army here. You have to, communicate amongst teams.
Right.
So at least we have around 7 to 8 teams in the office that I need to talk with on a daily basis. I just don't sit at my place. I just roam around floors. So you have to talk to teams, and coordinating them is the biggest task of your day.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. All right. There's one question about roles in the founder's office. I know like Altera has, when I was going through the placements, some people get placed in those roles as well. So Divya wants to know more about it. What does working in a founder's office mean?
As far as I have seen few founders office roles, um, it is actually a generalist role. It's
Mhm.
nothing about one vertical that you work around with. So you had to do market research at one day. You have to create a whole PNL from scratch. So you need to take main decisions actually. So that's a generalist role.
Okay. Okay. All right. And did some of your colleagues get placed in those roles in your batch?
Yes,
Yes.
few
Okay.
of them.
Okay. Okay.
CEO office. Yeah.
CEO's office.
CEO office, founder's office, yeah.
Founder's office is the same.
Right. I think there's also something called as entrepreneur in residence or
Yes.
Yeah.
something on that sort, which is connected to that, right? Sounds very fancy. All right. So Dexter Commenter 1250. Can we get founders role post Altera? Check out their placement report. And as I said, there are some colleagues, classmates in their batch who were placed in those roles. So just definitely check out their placement report. Again, one thing to note about Altera's placement report, and we'll probably include the link in the pinned comment or share it on chat. Again, definitely not an endorsement from my end. You folks, please look at the placements report and do your own due diligence. That's very important. But the level of transparency in that report is astounding, right? I mean, I've gone through multiple placement reports being in the role that I'm in. That definitely caught my eye. So check out that report. The level of detail included is amazing. And of course, if you have any questions, definitely reach out to that team. Okay, awesome. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, now your B school journey at Altera, right? I know this was like a 15-month long journey, and I'm sure it was very intense as well. But if you were to share like 2 to 3 top highlights from your journey, what would you like to share with the audience?
I think the one thing that comes to the top of my mind is myself, Arun, and Prachi. So we were there in this HUL live project.
Right.
So I think we stayed in the campus for nights and nights. We were just working on this problem statement of redesigning their entire B2B app. So I think those nights were so insightful. I think we just worked really, really hard, man.
That sounds
And I
very
think
exciting and daunting at the same time. Sorry, Prachi, go
Amarnath
ahead.
is being just a little humble, and we also won that. So there was a competition also that
Amazing.
so a lot of other teams were also competing, and we won that also. So I think I just wanted to highlight that as well.
Great. Love that. That should always be highlighted. And do you know if like these companies ended up implementing those suggestions that you gave them? Like, do you have any sort of insight into that? The live
Yes, they
projects that
did.
you did?
Yeah, the live project that we had, the Belgian waffle thing that I had mentioned earlier, they did go about with the market research that we had provided them, and
Amazing.
they did start off with the product.
Nice. That I'm sure is incredibly gratifying, right?
Yes.
As a
it is.
student to give suggestions to these behemoths and having them implemented your suggestions has to be incredibly satisfying. So folks, think about that, right? I mean, think about sort of like the satisfaction and the gratification that you get out of these major companies implementing the suggestions that you give them as a student, right? So it's fantastic. Awesome.
And
Yes. Yeah, Arun.
yeah, in my case, like the SEBA made, since our project that we have submitted was very useful for the company, they came for hiring as well
Oh, okay. Okay.
to the institute. Yeah.
Right. Okay. In fact, 1 second. Yeah, Payal was supposed to join us. She had an emergency, so she was the 4th panelist today. Payal is actually working as a key accounts manager in Sebamed right now. Yeah, but unfortunately she couldn't make it due to an emergency. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. Arun and Prachi, any highlights from your journey at Altera?
So talking about the entire journey, I mean, roller coaster is the one word that we can mention. So we have had sleepless nights. And I think the major highlight is that even when you are not sleeping for 2 days, you don't feel tired because that is what you're exactly wanting to work for. You're wanting to put in efforts. So there was this one case competition that we were preparing for. That is, we had to create a GTM strategy for Budweiser Beats. So Budweiser has its own energy drink that is called Budweiser Beats. So for that, I remember we were in campus till 6 a.m. and then we had to present at 9 a.m. in the morning. So we just had 3 hours to freshen up and come back to campus and present that. And the best part also is that what you have learned in those classes, it feels so happy when you start applying it. And once you present and you realize that whatever I've learned from the professor is not everything that I've just learned from a bookish language or I've just learned. whatever we had learned, whatever we were taught from there were from their experiences. And when we used to get these problem statements, and when we had to come up with a solution, we could actually relate to their journey as well. So even if now when I am facing some issues or there are problem statements that come to me at work, I can recall what my professor had explained someday in a class, that this is what he had done and that is the path that I really want to choose also. So I think gratification is the major point when it comes to that. Yeah, whatever you've learned, you're being able to apply, and it actually helps, and you can come out of the problem that you are at.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Arun, what about you?
So the competition that she was mentioning, I have won it. So that is the interesting.
Arun, I think we both were there in the
Yeah,
team,
we
so-
both won.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you,
good.
Prachi.
That's great. That's great. So Prachi sort of paved the way for you. That's good. That's good. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing this. All right. I'm going to take a couple of questions from chat. Yeah. Okay. So there was a question about AICTE rating, right? Altera, of course. And by the way, folks, Altera doesn't have an AICTE rating, but on their website, they clearly explain the rationale as to why they haven't. It's a well thought of decision from their end to not apply for that rating. But what I want to know from you folks is the lack of AICTE rating, because I know for some students that's important. Did that hinder your placements or your journey at Altera in any way?
I would say not at all. I mean, even when I was looking for institutions and B schools, when I
Right.
had to apply, my major concern was that because I had seen people doing their MBAs from traditional B schools and still not landing up at their dream job, still not being able to work well at the responsibilities or the roles that they have gotten, I was very sure I wanted a B school that prepares me for the future. It is not what I want to learn as principles, but I should know how to apply for. So I think that is where Altera matched. And the best is that you learn from the industry professionals themselves, people who have worked for decades, people who have actually established e-commerce for big brands. These are the people who are teaching you, teaching you through their experience. So I think that is what clicked. Well, there are people who would want ranking accreditation as a major, but again, it also depends on what are you wanting in your future. So if you
Right.
really want to land up at these digital first roles where you're prepared for your future, then I would say a curriculum which is beyond books is what is required. A curriculum where you are taught what has to be done is required. So, and I think Altera really provided us that, and that is why we can survive here. And from first day, we never, I mean, for me, there are people from other B schools who had 3 months training period so that they could understand how things work. From me, I was hands-on from the first day. There was no
Right.
training period that I had for 3 months or 6 months per se.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Very useful. Arun and Amarnath, any sort of, what's your take on this? Did this sort of
So it's
impact your journey in any way?
yeah. So I think Altera take a strategic, pivot on this. Like they have made this because like the careers are changing. Every 2 years, the career and the whole aspect of the job itself changing. Because of which the curriculum also has to change in that speed. That can't be done with a accreditation. So that's the reason why they have pivoted from that path. And Since this new age career wanted something like an Altera, like what the Altera provides. So yeah, for me, it never hinders me in my career.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
So when it comes to these rankings and accreditations for Altera, right? I'd say it would be an unfair comparison between the traditional B schools and Altera Institute, right? The roles that they prepare for, the curriculum, the pedagogy, everything at Altera is way too different from what they see at traditional B schools, right? So I think actually comparing them would not be the right step to or right way to look at it. So I think
Okay.
rankings wouldn't matter when it comes to Altera Institute.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And just a related question. So you were a part of the second batch at Altera. right?
Yes.
I'm sure when you were applying and when you sort of were choosing Altera as your B school, you probably had some reservations as well because the institute was new. You weren't really sure of their background. What did you do at that step to sort of, did you do anything specifically to get information that sort of convinced you to join Altera?
So I personally reached out to all the person who were passed out or who were alumni basically
Right, right,
in LinkedIn.
mm,
So I just spammed everyone, all the
right,
people from the last batch in LinkedIn, and from whatever that they are mentioning, I got convinced. Also, during the interview processes itself, like I had this conversation with the founder, Karan and Alek.
mm.
That also gave me a clear path, like end of the tunnel, how my life would look like, and I've pretty much achieved it. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. And I'm glad you got that opportunity to interact with the founders, and get your questions answered at the interview stage. What about you,
Yeah.
Prachi and Amarnath?
So I think likewise, whenever I connected with a lot of alumni. So once you talk to them, the response that I used to get was a little too good. And my only
Mm,
concern was because the first batch was a limited batch and there were not many students. So everyone used to give a positive response. All the profiles at LinkedIn had similar profile picture because all were clicked and similar background picture. And I thought, are these people bots? Because how can an institute which is such a new institute have so much of positive response? I was
right,
like, are these people a bot? This is just a
right.
scam that is going to happen to me. Then I spoke to people, I understood how things work. Then I visited the campus, I spoke to the admissions team, and that is when I realized that this is exactly what I want to go for. And it's
Okay.
just a leap of faith, I think, that we took.
Great, great. Thanks for being candid because I'm sure students right now, probably have similar reservations, right? So that's it's really good to hear that. Amarnath, what about you?
I think I had the same way, man. I
Okay.
think I also spammed on LinkedIn. I think I went a step ahead and spammed on all of Altera social media handles. So I think I had more response there. So no, I think I had spoken with all the mentors at Altera as well, along with the students and the founders at the interview stage.
Yeah.
So I think their responses were pretty good, and I was convinced by them.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so folks, those are great tips, right? Don't hesitate to contact the alumni, right? And three of them are right here, so feel free to spam their LinkedIn as well. Post the session. I'm sure they'll be happy to answer your questions. But contact a wide range of alumni. They have two batches that have passed out. Definitely do your own due diligence or do your own research. When you go for the interview stages, talk to the admissions team. If you get a chance, talk to the founders and then make a well-informed choice. And in fact, Altera did a session for 2IM in Chennai. It was an offline masterclass in marketing, and Karan was there. And Karan actually mentioned the same thing. He was encouraging the students to reach out to alumni and just get their first-hand experiences. So by all means, please do that. All right. Okay. There's one question that I definitely want to take, and I think Amar, you can probably chime in here because you were a fresher. Uh,
Mhm.
so one of them is saying that I feel intimidated by these terms and talks being a final year college student like GTM and all of that. How welcoming is Altera to freshers like me? And I'm guessing they're in their final year right now.
Okay. So inside Altera, I don't think there is any difference between an experienced folk and a fresher folk, right? Because everything that you've been taught there is way too new. Okay, it's not like it's very rare that you have a little relevant experience for what they're teaching here. So I think all these terms were intimidating as it was for you guys, for me as well. These were just bombarded. All these terms were bombarded to us right in the first month of the course. So you will get used to it. That's my advice.
Awesome, awesome. All right, great. Okay, there's another interesting question. Folks, we'll take probably a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up the session. If given a chance again, would you take a different decision for your B school?
That is a straight no from my side. I think this is the best decision that I can ever make. And I'm just so glad that I filled up the form, I said yes, and I joined. So, I mean, if I would have given an opportunity, I would want to live 1 year again, because right now, honestly, the work feels so slow. Even if you're working for 9 hours every day, the pace that we were at in Altera, the kind of assignments we used to get, the classes, and how hectic our days used to be, I think I really miss that. And sometimes I really feel on a Saturday, Sunday, when I'm actually I do not have much to do, like, am I doing right? Because in at Altera, no Saturday, Sunday felt ever like a weekend. I mean, Saturdays we had classes, Sunday we had so many things to do. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this sounds like a 15-month long, very intense boot camp that kind of set you up for the corporate roles for life. That's good. That's good. What about you, Arun? Would you pick another B school? Be honest.
No, for me, even at the time of admission, I had other offers in UK and Ireland. But then I felt like most of the people who went to Ireland and their career outcome was not that great. So looking back in the hindsight, I feel I took a very right decision that time, and I'm very much happy where I am right now.
Great. Great. Awesome. Amarnath?
Yeah, I would actually say I would never go back to any other traditional preschool, man, even for I'm like, no, looking at the placement reports and
Yeah.
news of other traditional B schools, right? I think this is the best decision I've taken so far in my life. So that is it.
Amazing, amazing. That's great to know. Folks, if you're interested in joining Altera, the application window is currently open. It's going to be open for a while. But today is their early admissions round deadline. And the advantage of applying in the early round is you get first access to scholarships. So there are a bunch of scholarships as well. So if you apply by end of day, you're placed in the pool of scholarships first and you get first pick. So that's the advantage. So do consider applying if you're really interested. The applications will be open after today as well. Okay, folks, I'm going to take one more question and then we'll wrap up the session. I'll probably end with a light-hearted question. Do you folks get free products from your company? Dexter wants to know.
So every month I get all the products that I won't be using, like the sunscreen, moisturizer. Because so what I will do is I will make it as a pack and then send it to the people that are close to me. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Arun, if you have forgotten, works for Honasa, which is the group that Mamath is a part of the group. So that's why he's talking about sunscreen. Maybe Arun, you should probably start using sunscreen. If not, I started using sunscreen after the age of 40. You folks are very young. I regret not using it earlier. So just a tip from a 40 plus guy. Maybe it's time to use sunscreen for all the guys. Anyway, why am I promoting Mamath's products? Prachi, go ahead. Yeah.
I think I am thankful that I don't get products every month, because again, I do not have place to keep mattresses every month.
You can send it to me, Prachi.
Sure,
Me as
I'll
well.
definitely.
Me as well. By the way, Kurlon is a brand that I've used in the past. So yeah, definitely.
So
What
Kurlon
about
is also a brand that is under Sheila Foams.
correct?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So Prachi works for Sleepwell. The group is Sheila Foams. Sheila Foams also owns Kurlon, which is a very reputed brand for mattresses. What about you, Amarnath? Any? Do you have a pet, by the way?
Unfortunately, I'm not a pet parent, so any products that I get, we have dogs and cats running around in our company,
Oh, that's
in
amazing.
all the
That's
clothes.
amazing.
So every product that I get, I just feed them there.
Oh,
I don't
that's
take back
amazing.
home.
That's amazing. They have free access, like pets have free access in your office?
Yes,
Do
yes, it's a
employees
pet
get to bring
friend.
pets?
Yes, yes, they
Oh,
do.
that's amazing. I'd love to work for an office like that. I have a pet. I have a Cocker Spaniel.
Mhm.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Awesome. Great, folks. So we'll end the session here. Thank you so much, Prachi, Arun, and Amarnath. These folks are very busy, so I'm very happy that they took out the time, to talk to you folks, B School aspirants, and share their journeys and also their tips and strategies for cracking interviews, and also the great insights that they shared about these digital roles. So thank you very much. Very useful session. Folks in the audience, again, if you have any questions specific to the roles or specific to Altera, feel free to put that in comments. I'll be in touch with them. I'll be in touch with the Altera team as well. So I'll make sure to get those questions answered. Again, a reminder, if you're interested in applying for Altera, they have a PG program in applied marketing. Their applications are open. The early round admission ends today. So if you apply by end of day, then you get early access to their scholarships. They have a bunch of scholarships. And again, definitely check out their placement report. If for nothing else, for the level of transparency that they have in the report, that will definitely catch your eye when you check it out. We'll link the placement report in the pinned comment as well. All right. Thank you, folks. Wish you a very happy new year in advance. This is the last YouTube live for 2IIM in 2025. I'll see you folks again in 2026. But have a great party tomorrow. Definitely rejuvenate. I know ZAT is coming up soon, but take out time to bring in the new year, and then you can get back and crush that on the 4th of January. All right. Thank you very much. See you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we leave or something?
They'll just give me 1 minute.